Hello! Welcome back, everyone. As you can see, my just chatting page is broken. I broke it. I don't know how to fix it. I mean, I kind of do, but I didn't have the time or the energy to fix it because it's the last stream anyway. So we won't be here for very long on this page, I mean. But welcome back. First, I would like to apologize. Let me just turn down this music. Okay, first I want to apologize. I know I am half an hour late. I feel like I've been starting late a lot lately. This time, truly, I mean, I feel like the last few times have also been out of my control, but this one's particularly out of my control. I will say it's my fault. I did tempt fate, but yeah. So I think I mentioned before that I get my groceries delivered to me, partially because, I know, right? How dare I? Partially because it's just more convenient now. It became more of a thing during the lockdowns, so I started doing that. But also my social anxiety and other neurospicy tendencies have really gotten more pronounced over the years. So going to places like a grocery store is hell on earth for me. So this kind of cuts out all of it. I don't like when I go to the grocery store, I get so like overwhelmed and overstimulated and just like I feel so self-conscious and I feel like I'm everyone's way, and I end up forgetting. Like I'll make a list of things I need to get, but I get so desperate to get out of there that I'll either like bypass whole sections of the store, or I'll realize that I forgot something in another section, but because it's crowded there, I'm not gonna go back there. And it's just too much. It's just, and I think the last couple times I went to a grocery store, it was not a great experience. I had like comically bad luck going to a grocery store with the things that were happening. So yeah, I just get them delivered now. So I get them delivered. Usually you book out an hour time slot for them to deliver anytime between that time frame. And I think I was talking about before about I usually try to get it here either like after work or on a day where I'm just gonna be home the whole day and not doing anything, like other than like cleaning, watching TV, whatever. So I was aiming to have the groceries delivered Saturday, but then when I went in, Saturday was completely booked up, only had Sunday as an option. And Sunday's kind of a weird time because I stream on Sundays. So I was like, I stream scheduled between 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. But sometimes, oftentimes, I do go a little bit beyond the 4 o'clock. So it's just like, I don't know where to put it there, because there'll be some streams where I end right at 4 o'clock. There's other ones where I go just like 5 o'clock, and then like what happened last week when I finished Omori? It was I finished at like 9-10 p.m. Like I streamed for like 10 hours, so like I didn't want to get interrupted with any kind of potential stream time with putting groceries away. So I was like, okay, I'll do it before. The only issue is I am not a morning person. Or just a waking up person. I'm not even saying a morning person. I'm just not a waking up person. So it's really hard for me to wake up on time when it's the weekend, because my brain's automatically like, why the fuck are you waking up early? It's the weekend, so sleep in. Like, this is our time to dissociate and like recharge for the next week. So what can you do, right? So I have it booked between 11 to 12, because usually my luck is that the groceries will get here at the start of the hour. Sometimes even early. That's what happens. Like 98% of the time I order my groceries. Because I couldn't do it any earlier, because I like, before the groceries get here, I have to wake up like an hour and a half, an hour beforehand, because I have to do stuff with my animals. And then, yeah, they didn't, then, oh yeah, and usually when they're coming over to deliver the groceries, they'll call you ahead of time, like a courtesy call saying, hey, like I'm on my way, I'll be there in like 5 to 15 minutes, depending on what they're gonna say. To give you the heads up to make sure that you're home and you're ready to grab the groceries and all that kind of stuff. And if there's any like last minute instructions or like heads up about the delivery options. So I scheduled between 11 and noon, hoping that it would show up, you know, closer to 11 than noon. And then it 12 p.m. hit and it wasn't here. They did call at like, what, 5 after, 10 after, saying that they were running a bit late. Brilliant. Like, I'm not gonna, obviously I didn't like heckle the person or like talk shit to the person delivering. It's not their fault. But it's just really frustrating because I'm just like, oh my god, the one time I need it to be like on time, and they just weren't. But I have groceries now, which is cool because I had like no food in the apartment for the last couple days. But I have food now, so that's cool. As for what's going on for today, well, one, Hachi-chan is in the chat. Hachi-chan was with us today. How are you doing, Hachi-chan? And hello to everyone else. If you are lurking, I appreciate you. For today, we will be starting with, as you could probably tell, we're going to be talking a bit about Omori. I really wish I was able to note down more specifics, like talking points and what have you, but every time I was trying to think about it, I'm like, I don't know. And you know what? This is the first time. Okay, well, that's good. Yeah, I saw you're having a hard time. Obviously, I'm not going to say anything specific, whatever, but yeah, I'm happy that I can help in any way that I can. I hope you're vibing. I hope you have a good tea and a good snack. Because we're going to talk some trauma. But yeah, I didn't really organize my thoughts today about what we're talking about. I'm just going to wing it and see how this goes with the, this like post-game chat and kind of go from there for potentially future games. I don't know if I'm going to do this for every game I finish. Probably just games that have like an impact on me and I want to talk about, but we'll see. We'll see. But for that, let us switch over. First, let's switch over to... Where's the album? Okay. Where is... We're gonna switch over to Omori time. May I introduce to you a guest star, a guest host. Her name is Miwo. She's wonderful. You should poke her, pet her, see what she does. But she'll be hanging out with us during this discussion today. As for if Miwo's gonna be hanging out with us for future streams, I don't know yet. I mean, she sort of will be, sort of won't be. She might be taking other forms down the line. But yeah, she'll be hanging out with us today. But okay, so Omori. For anyone who is watching right now who didn't watch my Hey, but like, you know, something loves us. It's fine. It's fine. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so for anyone who didn't watch my playthrough, one, how dare you, but it's okay. The playthrough is available to watch back on... Don't say that! Everything is not gonna be okay. But that's... Sorry, the playthrough can be watched on Twitch right now. The whole playthrough, it has been uploaded under the collections. So if you go to the video tab on Twitch, on my channel, obviously. But if you go to the collections tab, or the video tab on Twitch, and then where it says organize or sort, click that and then click collections, and then all of the complete playthroughs or the ongoing playthroughs will show up. All of the Omori parts are there. Over the coming weeks, I'll also be uploading the Omori parts in smaller but longer videos on the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@Yobi, YEOUBIE. Yeah, other playthroughs are also available. Things like Cadence of Hyrule, Spirit Pharaoh is ongoing. There's some Final Fantasy 14 post-patch content. Only 6.4 at the moment, though. 6.5 hasn't come out yet, and I wasn't streaming before all the other stuff had come out. But it'll also be available on the YouTube channel. But that playthrough of Omori, I got the perfect good end, or the good end with the secret cutscene. Secret cutscene being something that you can only unlock if you water the flowers, Basil's flowers, on, I think it's specifically day 2 or night 2. But I think I watered them on all days because I'm a flower person, even though I can't take care of flowers in real life. Or at least I'm trying to learn how to. But so I got the secret end, which is the end where Basil wakes up and sees Omori, and Omori something... Or, it's not Omori, sorry, where Basil wakes up and sees Sunny, and Sunny's something goes away, and Basil's something goes, like, resides... withdraws back into his body, but we'll talk a bit about that later. I think the first thing I want to talk about is, let me see here on my notes. I guess maybe the setting wise, like how the actual game works itself. So the game basically kind of goes into this, I guess the play loop is, you know, you have your headspace, or you have white space, headspace, and then reality. And I really, really like that split. One, it keeps with the pacing so well. Like there's just, it's really great for segmented play. So like if you're not, like I like to blitz through playthroughs, and there'll be times where I have a hard time trying to establish when I should take a break in a game. Either that being like if I'm not streaming and I'm just playing for myself, completely for myself, because of my what do you want to call it, default settings, my mental illness. I am diagnosed OCD, and I have some other things there too, but I tend to hyper focus on things really, really badly, and I really latch on, and I have a hard time stopping and taking a break, unless it's a very clear break point in the game for I'm like, okay, this is the perfect point for me to stop, because I like to finish things, and if I can't finish it, then I can't let go. So this being a break between the nighttime activities of headspace and white space, and then the daytime activities of reality, oh my god, that I just love that. And it just as a narrative device as well, it's really good because you have the break between Sunny and Omori. I really, really like the characterization of both Sunny and Omori. One, I just like how headspace, yeah, it is locked into time, but it's even then, it's even more childish than it would otherwise be. Like I love the just straight up age regression between Sunny and Omori, but especially like Omori, like they're supposed to be, at least from what I can gather, they're basically locked into the time that Sunny's age was at when Mari's death happened. But even then, they don't act like 12-year-olds. To me anyway. They act more like sub 10-year-olds, like 8, 9, 10. Even Hero, who's supposed to be a bit older, he's supposed to be 16 in the headspace time frame. He feels more like a 12-year-old to me. I don't know if that's just because I'm old lady boomer at this point, and anything that's anyone that's under 21 is a child. Honestly, anyone under 25 is a child to me, but they just felt particularly young. And I really, really like that distinction, especially with headspace being more so like with Sunny fully going to this like reclusive lifestyle, this hikikomori lifestyle, complete hermit. His perception of reality is just frozen at the time of when she died. So everything is just how he saw the world, or building the headspace with how he saw the world. So how he saw his friends, even if it's not exactly accurate to how the friends are in reality, but just how he sees his friends, how he not just sees his friends, but how he projects onto his friends. In key speaking, actually, would be like Aubrey. While there is some hints to the story, like throughout the story, that Aubrey does like him back, sorry, the music is really distracting. I'm just like, oh, I like Omori music. The headspace, Aubrey being just absolutely infatuated with Omori and tripping over herself over him, versus like there were some hints in the flashbacks to that time frame, but it was nothing so over the top. And you get the little dialogue with Basil asking why Sunny likes to see pictures every time Basil takes a picture of Aubrey. So like it's there, like the fondness is there. It's just not as pronounced, and I thought that was a cute little detail. I feel very vindicated over noticing that everyone's hair, other than Basil, was purple, and that's because Mari wanted to dye her hair purple, but she couldn't because she ended up dying. So I felt pretty good noticing that. I'm interested as to why specifically Basil's hair is green, or his color choice is green. Like, I'm assuming the greenery is tied to maybe his, like, his fondness and care for plants. Or green just being a color of nature and nurture. But I'm not absolutely sure. I didn't really look into color symbolism too much. I do know they wanted to have Basil to be a completely different color because he is the other entity, or the agent of chaos basically in the headspace, because he's usually the one to trigger Omori having to face reality and having to remember what happened with Mari. But I'm interested by the green. Maybe it's just a good contrast color between the purple, but not too contrasty that it would like overpower Omori's palette, which is just the black and white. Also, wait, no, I forget what I was gonna say. Yeah, I really do think it's to signify he's different from the others. Oh yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, I firmly believe that his color being different is to make him stick out. One, that just, you know, he's basically the other main character of this, outside of Omori and Sunny. Like, he needs to stick out from his friend group. Like, he is the one that tends to trigger. And it's just, I'm tripping over my words. I really should have like scripted all of this. But I think it also just kind of reinforces how it's Omori's projections or Sunny's projections of his friends, right? So he sees everyone else in the same palette because they are safe. Like, these are safe projections of his friends. Safe projections of Aubrey, Hiro, Cal, and even Mari. I'm actually curious if Mari had a different color prior, or if his friends had a different color prior. And to when I think the hints originally were like maybe Mari came out with them on initial adventures in the first few loops of Headspace before she was relegated to picnic duty in the current loop of Headspace. But Basil's always been the random elements because Basil was there and Basil helped Sunny with Mari. So yeah, definitely the color distinction. Like, it's always gonna put Sunny or Omori like at unease when in Headspace because we don't know what exactly he's doing. And it's part of like Sunny's and Omori's kind of projection of just like they want to know the truth. Like, it's there, they want to know, but they're not ready to do that yet, and they don't want to. It's just it's this tug and pull, right? Or the tug and pull are the same things. Push and pull? Push and pull? I don't know. No. Yeah. Tug and pull are different. Whatever. Next thing. Anyway. But yeah, no, I really like it. Like, it push and tug doesn't sound right either. I don't know. I think I was just saying the words too many times. But, yeah, I just like that right from the game starts, everything is established right away. And this actually is hammered home even more because my husband actually started playing Omori. He's just playing it over Discord while I watch him play. So right now he's currently at he just left Otherworld. He just met up with Kel for the first time, and I was actually really curious what he was gonna pick between opening the door for Kel and going out into the real world, or staying inside and being a recluse. And he also chose to go see Kel. The reason why I bring that up is just like, I feel like I originally started this game in May. It is currently near the end of July. I play this game once a week, but then I had to take breaks in between. So and because the game hadn't fully grabbed me at that point yet, I kind of forgot some of the early stuff. Didn't like forget, you know, like just the details, the care into it. And obviously you see things differently when you beat the game as well, but like, oh my gosh. The foreshadowing in Omori is just brilliant. I guess to talk about that would be the phobia fights, which was the acrophobia, arachnophobia, and what's it called? Thalassophobia? Yeah, no, it really does. So like the first boss you fight is the acrophobia, which is the fear of heights, which is symbolized by the why the music is so spooky. God damn it. I didn't mean for that to happen. Oh my god, and we're talking about acrophobia. The song's called okay, sorry. That's just so funny. But acrophobia being symbolized by the stairs, in which we learn later that the stairs are, you know, the Mari being tossed down. It makes me curious as to how often did Sunny even go down the stairs. If he just stayed upstairs as long as he could, maybe his mom brought him food a lot. But when I was watching my husband play, when he's fighting acrophobia, I don't know if arachnophobia and thalassophobia do this too, but acrophobia, you know how with its flavor text is for attacking? It's pushing. It's your fear of heights trying to push you down the stairs, which I thought was brutal and brilliant, but also just mostly brutal. I really like the way that they illustrate fears and phobias in this game, because it's pretty akin to like what I feel as a person with acrophobia and arachnophobia. I will not be talking about the spider stuff too much because my spider fear is very real. But that coying feeling, that clawing feeling, that the like hands, at least symbolized here, or like the hands kind of reaching into the spider webs, reaching in and like taking over your vision, and kind of a stranglehold, is such a perfect representation of phobias, and makes you like kind of stunned, and you can't really talk, can't really think, you can't really do anything. Not very realistic that he just gets over his phobias, I'm gonna be real, because I'm in my 30s and I'm still terrified of that stuff, so what can you do and what can you say? But I thought that was really, really cool how they tackled the phobias, and I guess like, and like where the phobias are linked to when it comes to Sunny's stories. I want to talk about Aubrey specifically as a I'm sorry, music's killing me. I want to talk about Aubrey as a character. I swear to God, I'm not doing this on purpose. My Spotify's minimized so I can't see anything. But I want to talk about Aubrey as a character. I feel bad because when I was looking over my list of characters and like what I want to talk about, I didn't really know what to say about Aubrey, other than I really, really like her. And that's all I can really say. The one thing I can say, but it's not really Aubrey specific, but it's more so like with Aubrey, Kel, and Hero, is how their emotional states set in game, like what you're supposed to kind of like what they what they're supposed to play into, that being Hero is at his strongest apparently when he's sad, which I didn't know that. I always had him as neutral. Aubrey is at her strongest when she's angry, and Kel is strongest when he's happy. It kind of carries over to how they process the trauma going forward, with Hero just giving into despair for the longest time and just being like bed rot, just being stuck in bed, and with until he got shaken out of it through his conversation with Kel trying to, you know, see the positives in the world and optimism, trying to like work through it, and Aubrey just kind of giving into the anger and rage and the rebellion of it all. Obviously, it's not helped by Aubrey's living situation either, as she's growing up in clearly a house that's not being taken care of. Could potentially be a what do you call it, a hoarder house. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure, didn't we see what her house looks like when we were kids? I'm not sure. And it looked like a little messy, but not terribly so. And then in the current, her house is basically a disaster. Her mom is just not responsive whatsoever. Like, Aubrey is in a horrible living situation. So it doesn't, like, I don't fault her for giving into anger. You know, like and being with her friends and bullying Basil, and you know, that was, I can understand that when you see that after. And it kind of goes down to like their emotional states is also linked to the flowers that Basil had assigned them, with Aubrey being the gladiolus or the sword flower, which basically she's fighting for what she sees as right in the world and what she sees as just. And when she saw, you know, what Basil did, he pissed her off, and it would probably piss us off too if we were in the same situation. And just being frustrated with how everything broke down once that happened, feeling abandoned just makes it even angrier. Oh yeah. I mean, it really can. I know, at least, I'm not a hoarder per se or anything like that, but I do know that when my emotional state really dips and I tend to spiral, like my apartment's an absolute disaster. Like, it's so bad. And I have to spend a day just like cleaning everything up and catching up on everything that I had fallen behind on because I just couldn't keep up with it anymore because life is hard. It gets really bad. So I can only imagine when you're a kid and you don't have control over your environment, and you look to your parents to try to take care of you, and they just won't because of whatever their reason is, either it being mental health, substance abuse, just outright selfishness or narcissism. So you're just kind of left there to kind of fend for yourself. So like I really feel for her, because especially in reality time frame, this is 4 years later, so Aubrey is 16 years old. That's a hard time for anyone. Like, just for anyone, being 16 is hard. And if you're being 16 in that environment and after you've gone through that trauma, like, it is a miracle that Aubrey is as strong as she is. Oh, for sure. No, I wish I could have more things to say about Aubrey. I feel so I mean, I feel so bad for all of them. Like, let's be real, I feel bad for all of them, but it's just like I feel like I don't even know what to say. Just poor Aubrey. I love her so much. It is, yeah. No, it's very true. I totally agree with you. I still think it's really funny that everyone got really upset with Sunny bringing a knife to their fight when Aubrey had a baseball bat filled with knives. Or not knives, filled with nails. And everyone's like, Sunny is insane for having a knife in this fight. But like, Aubrey had a fucking bat. And Aubrey brought it into the church. So like, Aubrey. But like, I feel like Aubrey brings a lot of emotional weight to the story that you wouldn't otherwise see in the future timeline, or not the future, but like the present timeline, because Kel is trying not to let it bother him. He just kind of works through the trauma and tries to see the best in the world and see the best in his life and kind of just be appreciative of what he does have. And Hiro, while I fully believe that Hiro hasn't fully processed his trauma, he puts on a very brave face, and he did have his moment prior to the present space. So like, he's also, and it's just the way Hiro is, like, he's always trying to be the strong character for everyone else. So Aubrey's like the only one truly in the present timeline that really shows like how volatile all of the emotions are. Yeah, no, Aubrey's I love Aubrey so much. And just like, just as a female presenting character, I really appreciate Aubrey. Because you don't really, it's so easy to relegate a female character, especially a young female character that's been through trauma, as just mishandling it. So either being she's strong but she's heartless, or strong, she's emotionally cold and distant, or no, the trauma broke her and now she's too frail and she can't function, or she's beset by too much like a mental load, which we do see that in other characters. But I do like that it's a fine balance. Like, it's a very realistic look into how a character processes trauma. Like, back in late 2015 and early 2016, I went through something pretty bad. I'm not gonna really talk about exactly like what exactly I want to talk about, because I'm not really ready to talk about that openly yet. Especially when I know certain people watch this on passing by. I went through a lot, and my my rate, and I was, how old was I during that point? I was like 24, 25 at the time. So I'm like older than all of these characters, and yeah, I went through the same steps. The rage was very real. But I think while Aubrey's rage is more outward rage, like she's actually processing it or acting through it, mine was more so like internal and spiteful and bitter rage. And I only see that she was too, like, she wasn't necessarily spiteful or bitter. She was doing things that she was doing what she thought was just, versus I was just very, very bitter and became toxic. So in a way, like I kind of look up to Aubrey. She did the best with what she had. And she apologized after. I can say very firmly, knowing how I am, getting to the point where I was ready to either apologize or make peace with what I had done, or recognize that things I had done in that time was wrong and I had wronged people. It took me a very long time to actually come to terms with the fact that I was the bad guy in those situations. So Aubrey being able to be approached on like day 1 and told all of these things that you're wrong, and then by day 2 and day 3 going, you know what, yeah, you're right, I was wrong, I am sorry. Like, that's really impressive. That's really strong of Aubrey. Aubrey should never have to be that strong. She is a child, but it's incredible how strong she is. And for that, thank you, Aubrey. You're awesome. Next would be, I want to talk about Kel. One, I've noticed online that Kel has a huge fan base. And you know what? I don't blame them. Generally speaking, I do not like bro characters. Like best bro, best guy friend, positive or rambunctious. I don't want to say I hate those characters, but I strongly dislike those characters. I find them very irritating. I adore Kel. I love Kel so much. Kel was the underdog character for me. I think because in the way where he approaches positivity, he doesn't dismiss what other people go through. Yes, he does butt heads with Aubrey, and the way that's handled isn't great. But again, keeping in mind, they are fucking children who have gone through a terrible, terrible trauma. But overall, I really, really appreciate Kel. I really appreciate how loyal of a friend he is, and him coming up and knocking on Sunny's door to see him one last time before he moves. If you go through I think it's he knocks on the door every single day. He keeps knocking until you answer or until something happens. I don't know for sure. I don't know if on the Hikikomori route, if he also knocks on the doors on those next few days. I'm not too sure. But I really do appreciate that he tries. Even if he's positive that Sunny will not open the door, he tries anyway. Because when you open the door, he's like, I really didn't think you would open that door. I don't have any plans now. Because he's just assuming he's gonna get rejected again. Which says a lot about his character, because I feel like Kel gets neglected so much. Both for funsies, like in comedic bits, like in the headspace, but also just like in his family. Because I noticed a couple different times that when you're in the headspace and you're going somewhere or doing something, that majority of the time, the party, that being, or 3/4 of the party, that being Omori, Aubrey, and Hiro, are doing something as normal, and then Kel kind of always gets the short end of the stick. This I was reminded when I was watching my husband play, because he was doing the other world section, so he fought Pluto, and we're going on Pluto Express, and Kel is left there to like hang on to his legs for dear life, and it's played for laughs, but it's just kind of, it's interesting that Sunny catches onto that and projects that onto the dream space or headspace Kel, because sorry, music is this is the Pluto fight, isn't it? I think this is the Pluto fight music. I swear to God, I didn't mean to time character mentions with their themes. I promise. But in the reality space, real space, when we get the flashback, or Kel telling about how Hiro is processing Mari's death, and Kel and Hiro end up crying and yelling at each other, just beset with grief. Hiro's and Kel's parents run in and they're both crying, mind you. Hiro and Kel are both crying, and the parents just pass right by Kel and go straight to Hiro. And it's just really, really sad. It isn't until at that moment when Hiro recognizes that Kel has also gone through a lot and Kel also needs support. It's Hiro that approaches Kel and not his parents. And I don't know if his parents ever really do try to take care of Kel's emotional needs post-trauma. Like, I don't think we ever got any kind of side dialogue with that. I don't know if maybe other routes or maybe I missed certain things, but I just feel like Kel a lot of times is ignored. I mean, he is the middle child. He was the youngest after, but then he ended up being the middle. Hiro is, you know, an academic, I'm not gonna say prodigy. I don't think he's a prodigy, but he's academically very strong and successful. Versus Kel, Kel's strengths aren't academic, so he gets ignored a lot. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. And like, when you're doing the hide and seek on the first day, Kel's the first one you find. Like, Kel didn't even try to hide. He's just like, yep, I can help you now find the people, because he knows that Omori doesn't like to be alone. He doesn't want Omori to feel that, so he helps. Like, seeing like a bro archetype character being so emotionally in tune and intelligent and just empathetic is just, it's really, really sweet. How much he cares for everyone. The bickering that Aubrey and Kel have in Headspace, I don't think it's is being too deep or anything like that. I think that's just like they love each other as siblings, and they bicker, and Omori just kind of made that more exaggerated just for funsies. But yeah, no, I just really like Kel. I don't know if I'm part of the Kel gang, but I appreciate the Kel gang. It's super valid. I adore him, and I love the energy that Kel brings to the group. Kel is such a high energy, like bouncing off the walls 24/7. I like that any scenes where the group is trying to figure out what to do, you see Kel kind of bouncing around. You see it, I can't remember the other times you see it, but I remember you see it in the casino, where after they fought Jossum and Pluto again, and they go down to the lobby, they're trying to figure out where to go. You see Kel just running about, going into each individual person that's in the area. I'm assuming asking questions. I just remembered, but like in Otherworld in the junkyard, you'll always see that Kel is always digging through the trash. He is looking for that mixtape. Like when he has a goal in mind, he's gonna see that through and be as thorough as he possibly can. He's gonna try everything. And he's just wonderful. Also, he's just so strong. When you up that speed and do run and gun, like, God. Kel is just great. I love Kel. Hiro. I have the biggest soft spot for Hiro. I see a lot of my high school and university self, or just like student self era in Hiro. That being, Hiro has some boundary issues. He has a hard time saying no. He really wants to live up to people's expectation of him. I think in a way he's trying to live up to his nickname, being Hiro, because apparently Hiro is not his actual name. His actual name, according to my research, is Henry. Hiro, as confirmed by Kel, Hiro got his nickname from the sandwiches that he gets all times at Gino's Pizzeria. And I kind of like the idea, the headcanon I've seen around, where it's Hiro doesn't actually know where his nickname came from. He thinks that people gave him the nickname Hiro because he's so great at taking care of others, so he wants to live up to that nickname and push himself even more, which it's very in line for Hiro to take again, this is a headcanon, but taking a playful nickname and then taking it as a burden onto himself. Like, oh my gosh. And the little we see of Hiro and Mari's relationship is just so freaking cute. I love that one picture of just Hiro holding Mari's face when I think they're at the beach. Oh my god, it's just absolutely adorable. I deeply worry for him. The way he processed Mari's death and avoiding going to her tombstone and really like talking about it. Like anytime you try to bring it up to him, he kind of shuts it down. I saw in another person's playthrough that the night where Kel and Hiro go to Sunny's house for a sleepover, you wake up in the middle of the night, you go downstairs because you can hear the piano, you walk in and you see Mari playing the piano, and she's, you know, talking to you, encouraging you and all that kind of stuff, and she asks if you want to play with her, and then you don't get the opportunity to make a choice. Hiro comes into the room and Hiro's like, it's okay, go get some sleep. Now in my playthrough, I just left the room and I think I went right back to bed. But I saw another person's playthrough that if you leave the room that Hiro, like the piano room, but then you come back, Hiro is at the piano and he is just sobbing over Mari. And it's just this constant reminder of Hiro trying to put on that brave face in front of everyone else, but at the detriment of himself and being able to process her death. And I think when I was watching someone else's playthrough after, there is the ending of if you wake up on the last night when you're at Basil's house, and the game wants you to go into Basil's room to save him. If you go back to sleep and skip that and you wake up, Basil has taken his life, and your friends are in the hall along with Polly, and they are crying over his death. And when you talk to Hiro specifically, he is trying to hold it together. He's encouraging you to like not look and just go home and just don't take on this emotional burden, go start your new life. But if you continue the text, I can't remember exactly what he says, but he says something along the lines of he doesn't know if he'll be able to handle it, and the text changes. And that text change, to my knowledge, is only ever used by Sunny, Omori, Basil, and I think Mari. And it's the really frantic text. It's let me see here. I can give you like a better visual of what that text is. I will change the old spoilers thing to the other font. 1 second here. Because I downloaded the fonts. Yeah, we'll be okay, I think. Yeah, it's the I think was in the other text, and this was the text for it, was this one. And that text is, I think, only ever used by Sunny, Omori, Basil, and I think Mari. And it's supposed to, I think it's supposed to be like the stressed out emotional state text. But it's also text used by the characters that canonically and any given route die. Which really worries me that in potential routes that Hiro might have been next to die, most likely from a suicide. And I don't like to like theorize potential like character deaths and character suffering. I don't want to think about these characters suffering at all, but it really just kind of speaks into the fact that like Hiro was just, he takes on way too much, and he doesn't know how to process it. I think because everyone thinks he's so strong, they don't help him as much as he needs to be helped. I mean, with a lot of these characters, but I always worry that his future self, that he's gonna go through a major burnout. I don't know if maybe that's just me projecting myself onto him too much. As a person that was a high achieving academic, and I was an athlete back in my day, doing all that kind of stuff, but it did eventually lead into a very, very severe burnout that I went through a few years back, where I couldn't work, I couldn't take care of myself. I needed help from other people to kind of bring me out of that. And I was lucky enough to have other people in my life to bring me out of that. And I just really worry that regardless of the endings that you get for a hero, that heroes can go down that same path. But again, it could be just me projecting, but just I personally think it's real recognizing real. Like, I see a lot of myself in him. Or at least a lot of my previous self. I don't know if, I don't know if I'm hero-like anymore. I'm very old and broken at this point. So hopefully Hero just become me. But yeah, I just so deeply care for him, and I worry about him so much. But yeah. Next would be... I don't really know the order of how I want to talk about these next few characters. But I will go with... I guess I'll go with Mari next. I love Mari's characterization so much. I like that she is the caring, loving older sister. I like that she has a mischievous side. Like, she likes to prank. Maybe her pranks are a little too cruel in my opinion with, like, Hero is arachnophobic, I'm arachnophobic, and her being like, ha 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 ha. I know it wasn't an arachnid, it was, I think, a beetle, but her, like, putting bugs in Hero's desk is just awful, but, like, it's also just, it's a game, whatever. But Mari's just, she's adorable. I like the way they give you information about Mari, like crucial information that you need to know about her without getting overwhelming about it. That being, they brought up a few different times about her weak knee, that she used to be an athlete. I think she was a baseball player before she got a knee injury and had to retire from that. And that she's a perfectionist, and that she stresses her piano practicing a lot. And I'm wondering if her perfectionism might have led to her knee injury. For anyone who's watched, obviously no spoilers at all. This is like part of the character's introduction to this. But for anyone who watches Haikyuu, in a weird way, Mari reminds me of Oikawa. When you first meet Oikawa, who is my absolute favorite character in Haikyuu, he's coming back from, I think it's a knee injury or an ankle injury. He's all splint up. I think it's a knee injury. And it came from him pushing himself too hard. And he's also a perfectionist, and he works himself to the bone to improve himself. And I think that kind of characterization lines up really well with Mari, where it is a bright, bubbly character, like Oikawa, who was good at something, but at least from what we can see with the piano, is that she's good because she practiced. This isn't like a natural talent. She could have a natural talent, but she's not resting on her laurels. She's working hard on that, but potentially overworking herself. And this overworking of herself, kind of this perfectionism trait, this obsessive trait, has led to the storyline of Omori, that being that she pushed herself a lot, started pushing on Omori, started pushing on Sunny. And it could be a mixture of one being there is an age difference at the time when this accident happened, and this is an accident. It was an accident. Sunny didn't do it on purpose. But when this happened, Sunny was 12, Mari's 16. Mari's been playing piano for quite a while now at this point. And she's practicing really hard. The recital is the next day. She's been around the block when it comes to performances for a while now, plus just the way that she is. She works really hard. Sunny's a different kind of character. Sunny doesn't really, at least from what we can see here, he didn't really push himself really hard in terms of any kind of performance. He didn't do sports beforehand. He only started picking up the violin to spend more time with his sister, because his sister had a tendency of shutting herself away in the piano room to practice. He never liked playing the violin to begin with. And he's probably very, there's a difference. I know I said before, like, I grew up an athlete. I grew up like an academic. I also grew up playing music, because music was actually my biggest passion at the time, is music and art. I played piano and flute primarily. I always wanted to play violin, but never got a chance to. And there's a lot of work that goes into that. There's a difference between playing for fun and playing for a performance. And from what I can see here, Sunny was more of the play for fun. Like, he just wants to have time. He wants to have a shared time with Mari. But Mari, from what I can see here, Mari's brain isn't really like that. She's very shy when it comes to performing for her friends and just playing around. So when she makes that mistake, she doesn't want to play anymore, and she hides her face because she's embarrassed that she, like, probably played just the wrong key. Probably just a simple mistake, but she's a perfectionist. That's gonna kind of eat at you. So you have two people from different age groups approaching music in a different way. No matter what, conflict's gonna happen. And I feel like even if this didn't happen, like say Sunny didn't pick up the violin, no matter what, this conflict is gonna happen because they are siblings, they are different people, and at one point or another, they're gonna butt heads over something. Hopefully it wouldn't have ended in a death, but no matter what, a huge argument. I can safely say, as an oldest sister of four siblings, of 5 kids, big fight's gonna happen. And it sucks that it ended like this. I do like that they did stress the weak knee, because it really was her weak knee that, you know, had her fall down the stairs. Because, yeah, 12 years old, they can be pretty strong. My siblings had definitely roughed me up during, like, with a similar age difference. But enough to knock her down the stairs potentially when she's already blocking him and bracing herself. I really, like, it was her knee that kind of let that fall really kind of go through. I just, oh man. Mari's just so cool. I like her. I don't really have much to say because she's, as much as she is a fully fleshed character, she is a plot point, right? So there's not really much to say. The only thing I can really ask is where is Miwo, her cat? Because she got her cat shortly before all these things happened, right? So the cat's young. So the cat didn't pass away from old age. I like to think that maybe they still have the cat. The cat is just with the mom in the other city. I don't know. Speaking of mother, I guess we'll just kind of sideline into the parents. The mom and dad. There is a dad, but the dad left. One thing I've noticed when I was watching back my playthrough, because I was trying to do some editing stuff, is I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but I'm assuming that the mom and dad knew that Mari didn't hang herself, because the dialogue that we get during one of the black space rooms is his mom sitting on the couch crying, and she said, "I already lost a daughter. I can't lose my son too." And that's not something you would say. At least I'm assuming. This is a lot of just theorizing, but it's not something that you would say if you just found your daughter dead with presumed suicide. That's when you know what happened, or at least roughly what happens, that your son has something to do with it, and they're basically protecting this, like protecting Sunny from the consequences, being, you know, police involvement, family services, something like that, child services. At least that's what I'm assuming is happening here, and I think that's what caused the split of their marriage, because it seems here that we do get one black space scene when we pick up a key of the father chopping down the tree that Mari was found on, and we see that tree is chopped in the real space. And he says things along the lines of, "You are not my son. Stay away from me. Get away from me. Why won't this tree come down?" And I really do think that they both realized that she didn't actually kill herself, which honestly, I'm assuming would be really easy to figure out, because there's two 12-year-old boys that try to hang someone, right? They probably didn't do it right. Like, they probably didn't tie the knot right. It didn't make sense when they're looking at it, like, how would this all work out? Like, how would she do all of this? So they probably put 2 and 2 together. I don't know if they know about Basil's involvement at all, but they do know that Sunny was involved in it. And when you have that knowledge, plus a death of a child, which is a huge driver in terms of marriage breakdowns, but they went to one of 2 routes. That being, the father just couldn't deal with the idea that his son could do this to his daughter, cut his losses and left. I'm assuming, because we don't see any mention of him later, like in the real space at all. His mom never mentions him. Sunny never sees anything around the house that would remind him of his father. Like, the father's just gone. And then the mother went to hypervigilance protective mode and doing whatever she possibly could to protect Sunny. Because while I still think it's weird that his mom left for 3 days when her son is in this state, with no food, mind you, because there was only a singular steak in the fridge, and that was it. Like, I don't know how she expected him to defend himself, but especially when the emotional state he's in. But there are certain things that she had said that makes it feel like she is involved in his life. That being, that she tries to encourage him to go see his friends, like Kel coming over and trying to, you know, contact Sunny, but then reinforcing with, but I totally understand if you can't do it. Don't sweat it if you can't do it. Just do whatever you need to do to protect yourself. I can't remember exactly what she says, but just that little line of dialogue that's a bit more personalized, a bit more intimate. Like, it shows that they did have some kind of relationship, and she's just like, she went to that hypervigilant mode. And it's going very, like, you know, self-centered version me. When I was going through my big breakdown of sorts, actually, I mean, both of them really, but the big first one being the one in 2015, 2016, I couldn't function anymore. I could barely talk. I wasn't eating anymore. I couldn't do anything. And I feel like you're when you have an involved parent, I think it's like one of two ways. Either you're gonna a parent like Omori's or Sunny's mom, or it's just this very much the do whatever you can to take care of yourself. Almost like encouraging a safe space, but to the point that it almost encourages you to plateau, like to not improve yourself, to kind of reinforce these bad habits. Or you get what I got, which was my lovely mother, and I'm not talking shit at all. Like, Mom, if you're ever watching this, hi Mom. But my mom is very much the opposite. Like, we are pushing through. Like, we are I don't have the words to help you emotionally, mentally process this, but your physical needs are gonna be fucking met, and you don't have a choice in this matter. You will not die on me. And she told me this a few different times, very aggressively. You will not die on me. So even if we couldn't have a proper conversation about how I was actually feeling, and that's not just on her, that's on me too. Like, even to now, like, I'm thinking back to that point and I feel myself getting flustered because I can't properly convey that without crying because I'm emotionally a wreck. But me not being forthcoming with what I'm feeling and not being able to have that conversation without devolving into tears, and her being, I don't know if it's unwilling or just unprepared to tackle something so heavy like that, and instead just focusing on the physiological needs, that being a roof over my head, food, water, vitamin D, sunlight. She's gonna do that, and she did it well. Like, she's got me through a lot of things. I shouldn't have brought it up because now I'm getting flustered. 1 second, I gotta drink water. But she pushed through. There are many moments where I was refusing to eat. Either that being I was not hungry, or I have some, what do you call it? What do you call the bad eating habits? I can't remember what it's called. But like almost like a self-harming eating habit, where if I'm really flustered, even if I'm hungry, I will refuse to eat. And she's like, nah, even if it's toast, you're gonna fucking eat something. Is that the best approach? Probably not. Am I alive today? Yes, I am. So she did the best with what she could do. And there were times where I just couldn't take care of myself. She would come over to my apartment and she'd be like, okay, what are we doing today? We are cleaning up your apartment. Okay, we need to build this thing. Okay, we need to stock your fridge, your things. We need to get you to eat something. We need to do some laundry. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna make you do it. And if there were times where I couldn't do it because of whatever the reasons were, my, I start getting shaky, she's like, okay, you can just sit there and watch me do it. And then she would do it and be like, look at what we did, and still include me. And that's, no. My mom's cool. So, like, you get the two sides of it, right? And while I think Sunny's mom's heart is in absolute the best place, I do think that she does reinforce bad habits to a point, because there is no sense of progression. He's been like this for 4 years. He's probably not going to change with her intervention at all. That being getting him the help that he needs. But even then, is the help even available? Where are they? What resources are there available? Can you even afford it? But unfortunately, with what she has at her disposal, he wasn't going to change with her intervention at all. And I think it's interesting to see that kind of contrast between his mom and his dad, or used to be his dad. Basil. I really like Basil. I was saying before about how sometimes trauma can break you. Doesn't matter. It does not matter how strong you are. Why is the music creepy anytime I talk about trauma? Please, soundtrack, please. How much of this background do I have left? Oh my god, we've talked for almost an hour? Goddamn, let me just refresh this. Okay, sorry. I just realized how long we've been going for. Yeah. Sorry that I weep sometimes. I'm a weepy person. I'm hoping it's not too self-centered in conversation. It's one of those that Omori hit me really, really, really hard, which is why I wasn't able to talk about it the day that we beat the game, because there's just a lot that I had to go through. The game was deeply, deeply, deeply triggering for me. So I had to work my emotions out before I could even try to talk about it at all, and like why it hit so hard. 'Cause I didn't truly understand in the moment why it hit so hard. But you know, yeah. But Basil. So I was saying before about how Aubrey, a lot of times when you get femme presenting characters, you that have gone through a deep trauma, you'll get a character that, regardless of how strong they are, trauma is too much and they are broken. They cannot take care of themselves. They are very, very fragile, very, very frail. And they kind of succumb to that, and they rely on others to take care of them. And then you get the opposite, which is this like very hardened, emotionally cold, emotionally distant, emotionally deceased person that basically completely relies on the fact that they are like their definition of strong to go through it. Shout out being the example of emotionally cold, distant person is what fucking Game of Thrones producers did to my favorite character, Sansa Stark. Sansa Stark was one of my favorite characters, and they ruined her because they made her emotionally cold and distant, and then thanked her trauma for making her so quote-unquote strong. I'm not bitter about it. I just want to throw it out there. But anyway, so when we go to Basil, I feel like that option, that first option here being something that's so traumatizing, so much, just emotionally, spiritually breaks a person. And it makes sense. Basil is just the perfect counterpart to Sunny, in my opinion. Versus Sunny Sunny backs into himself so deeply. He regresses so deeply that he just willfully forgets, willfully just represses the trauma. Versus what we can see in the black space is that Basil immediately recognized and made real what happened. Like he didn't look away from the truth. He immediately accepted the truth of the situation. And I can see that. I think that's best exemplified by their somethings, that being these cute little shadows. I don't have the shadow on this. Where is it? Let me. There. This is a something. They're called somethings. Basil's and Sunny's something being very different, I think really kind of shows the way that they understood that or processed that trauma, and like when they accepted the reality of the situation. I don't have a picture of it right now, I'm sorry, but Basil's something is this like sprawling like black mass, like it's like tendrils coming out. Now I saw people debating before about like what this signifies, if this is like the roots of a tree because, you know, he's more aligned with the plant. Maybe he's recognizing the base of the tree rather than like Mari's silhouette itself. I personally see it as one of the first things that Basil sees when he walks into the house after the violin, obviously, is Mari on the ground. And when Mari's on the ground, you see that and she has very, very, very long, beautiful hair. her hair is all splayed out. So her hair is just everywhere. The strings of the violin is everywhere. There's things everywhere. So I think in that moment when he saw Mari on the ground, he immediately just knew. And I don't mean like knew, obviously, like they both knew something bad had happened. But I think he accepted in that moment, potentially, that she was dead. And if not, the trauma was born of that moment specifically. The trauma locked into his brain in that moment. And then thinking that he might be able to live a life beyond that if he has the help of his friend, of that being Sunny, then he might, you know, be able to live a life. But obviously Sunny backs away and basically shoulders all of this onto Basil. And when you have 2 people's worth of trauma on one 12-year-old boy, like, yeah, he's gonna break. He's gonna have like what we could see were panic attacks when he locks himself in the bathroom to have a panic attack. We see this when the first day when we go over to Basil's house for dinner. He locks himself away to have a panic attack. And it's also mentioned when Aubrey goes over to his house when she steals the photo album, that at one point Basil goes into the bathroom to have a panic attack. To the point that Basil can't function near people that remind him of all of these things because he's the only one there. He's the only one with the truth, and he can't bring himself to be around these people because the guilt is eating him alive. And that's just a lot. I really appreciate that with the secret end that I got, that you see Sunny's something go away. And we'll talk about Sunny after, but like Sunny has already done the initial battle coming to terms. He's done all the internal work, you know, through the black space and the fight with Omori. Basil hasn't gone through that yet because Basil is just looking for some support, right? So when you see Basil and his something doesn't fade away like Sunny's something does. His something crawls back inside. It's not overshadowing him anymore. It's not consuming him, but it is there. Now, is that always going to be there, or is he going to be able to work through it to a point that Sunny has as well? But knowing that he at least has some kind of support, he has his friends smiling over him, is enough for him to start his journey to healing, self-healing, and I really, really appreciate that. I also think it's really interesting how frail Omori projects onto Basil into the headspace. Because what we can see here is that Basil is very emotionally mature, very emotionally in tune. He's very understanding of other people and where they're coming from. I personally believe that Basil has a bit of a boundary issue as well, with not wanting to upset people. That being, he doesn't want, like, versus, sorry, I'm tripping on my words again. Whereas Kel wants people to not feel like he's feeling, and making sure that everyone's happy and healthy and safe and just having a good time. Basil's is different. Basil doesn't want to upset the balance of things by expressing his wants, needs, boundaries, and internalize it instead. So one's a bit more externally, one's a bit more internal. At least that's how I understood it. But I don't think it was as extreme. So the extreme nature of that projected onto Basil is, I wish I had more to say than other than it's interesting. But I feel like of the traits that have been the most exaggerated in the headspace, mind space, I can't remember what it's called, headspace, is Aubrey's character traits and Basil's character traits. At least in my opinion. I feel like those were the far more extreme. I wish I could say more about Basil, but I think I'm just still mentally recovering from talking about life before this. I really like Basil. I hope Basil has a good, happy life and gets all the help that he needs. especially that night must have been hell, because I'm assuming his grandma died that night, right? Like, could we see her spirit in the streets? And when he got back, he just locked himself in his room. So I'm assuming it's because she died, and he hadn't told Polly yet. And now I'm even thinking about it is, yeah, what would happen, because Polly was hired to take care of his grandma. He is secondary in the care. It's primarily for his grandma. And if his grandma is dead now, does that mean Polly's gonna leave and he would just be by himself? Like, no matter what. And I think it's, I don't know if it's outright confirmed, but it's like, it's like assumed or again gathered or hinted at that like in every single possible ending that isn't like the good ending, that Basil dies. Like we always hear sirens going off, that being, I'm assuming, sirens coming to get him, because if we don't help him, he's just gonna take his life that night, because it's probably too much for him. And I just feel really, really, really bad for him. That's all I can really say. I think I'm just getting mentally tired now. So, with my mentally tired, emotionally tired state, let's talk about Sunny and Omori. Sunny as a character is really interesting. I love that his headspace is I love that Sunny's creation of white space and headspace, especially headspace, is just so, it's so strong. Like, it's, I tend to, when things are really, really bad, I kind of go into like a like into my own like little mind palace of sorts, and like just dream a lot, but my dreams are more rooted in kind of like reality. But I'm also an old lady, so he's a child, and he froze himself basically at 12 years old. He's 16 now, but he's still 12. And just remembering all the things that he liked at that time and just filling his dreams with that. But it's just such a expansive world that he's created for himself that he can go to. I really, really, really like the idea that there's like two, arguably three sides to himself that yearn for the truth. Like, the whole headspace story is basically Basil's the truth, right? He is looking for the truth, but he's not ready for it. Like, he wants it, but he knows it's gonna hurt himself, so he fills it with all of these other quest things, the things that will bog you down as much as possible. So you have like the first one being like, oh, let's go to Otherworld and track him down. No, we gotta help this guy process his breakup with Sweetheart. We gotta help Captain Spaceboy with his breakup. We do that, then we get to the Sprout Mole Village. I can't remember what it's called. And we do all the things with Sweetheart. And Sweetheart basically becomes our villain of sorts. And even when you think about it for more than 2 seconds, it's like, but like, why? Why do we keep chasing after her? Like, he's just, it's this weird childish, like, good and evil kind of thing to it. It's not fully realized. It doesn't fully make sense, but it's totally in line with the game itself, because this is projections of someone that's just mentally stuck at being 12 because of the trauma that he went through. He's just making up reasons to stop himself from finding Basil, whatever that being, however nonsensical that is. And I don't mean nonsensical in terms of like surreal visuals or surreal like plot points. I mean nonsensical as in like, why are we hung up on this so much? Like, why are we staying here? There's no reason for it. There's not one of those, oh, if we, you know, get Sweetheart like a spouse, or like what have you, then we'll know where Basil is. Oh, like, you know, if we help Captain Spaceboy, he'll tell us where Basil is. Like, this information is not being held hostage. And it's even like exaggerated when you go into the deeper well, when you're seeing Humphrey the whale. To my knowledge, to my memory, there's nothing that brought us there other than outright just curiosity. It got to the point that the rest of your party forgets about Basil. We see the flower crown on the road, and Kel just kicks it down a ravine because they don't even know why they're there anymore. They're just there to have a good adventure. there's no kind of benefit to doing all these kind of things to find Basil or get clues. And I saw some people complaining about how that third venture to Headspace, where it's the casino followed by the the Humphrey stomach stuff, about how drawn out it is and how it kind of took him out of the game. And I totally understand that perspective, but like, I really appreciate it because like, this is like, the casino is called the last resort, right? This whole stretch of the game, this is Omori's last resort in distracting you with shit. This is the most surreal everything gets at this point. Like, why is everyone working now? Like, obviously this is a projection of like Omori's fears of everyone moving on and doing other things and growing up and what have you, and his inability to grow up, like his inability to understand how working works and capitalism works, which, you know, fair enough, fuck capitalism, but like everything becomes a bit more and more and more like a childlike outlook and more absurd and more surreal as things go in that final stretch. And that is a long ass stretch, but I don't know, it totally makes sense to me why it's so long, because it's really, it's Omori desperately trying to distract people with all these other things. There are areas in that final area that I apparently missed. I think there was like there's some kind of like farm area that I hadn't gone to in that area, like I had missed, because I was at that point I was just wanting to do more story stuff, but like there's just so much there to try to distract you from it, and it's doing exactly what it needs to do. It's trying to keep you away from the truth, because like when you get to that point where it's that deep into your subconscious and the truth is coming out more and more, and outright just telling you where things are, like you need to find the keys, you need to go to black space, you need to go to the truth, and the truth is in Basil's house. Like, it's desperately trying to keep you from that area. And I just, I don't know. I grew up being really, really fascinated by just how dreams work, and potentially like dream symbolism and dream interpretation. So I don't know, maybe it's just a very me specific thing, but I thought that was very, very cool of the game. It's gonna sound so weird when I say it, but I don't know if they're my favorite character. Like, I don't know, but like I have a big old soft spot for Omori specifically. Like, I like Sunny, I like all the other characters a lot, but I have such a soft spot for Omori. I think it's because, like, as I mentioned before, like I went through some very big things in 2015, 2016 time, and then I had like a little breakdown a couple years back as well. Like, just the things, like looking back now and the things that I had done, or the things that I had done to myself, and like it was bad. It was really bad, the things I had done to myself and to others and to other things and what have you. But it was from a point, at least in my brain, the way it's protecting itself, it was in terms of protection. Like the actions themselves, or like my thoughts behind it, were out of love. And I can see, I don't know, maybe it's just my brain's just really fucked up. I see the good intentions behind Omori as a character. Like, I'm not justifying it. Omori's done some really fucked up shit, and the things that, you know, that he tortures Sunny with, and like the negative self-talk, basically prompting him to kill himself and all kinds of stuff like that, those are bad things. But like, as a person who's also deeply struggled with like suicidal ideation and all the stuff that I had gone through as well, oh, maybe it's a trauma bond, I don't know, but just like, it's just such a realistic take of like your darker, like, inner self. And it's this weird, like, Omori's this weird combination of like your darker, like kind of like a shadow self mixed with like your inner child, where it's just like you don't have the tools to process everything, so you're just doing whatever you can possibly think of to protect whatever. Like, it's this creation of like a projection of your inner child just trying to do whatever they can to take care of you. We see this a lot with I don't want to say I don't want to say it's a trend at all, but it's a more recurring topic on the online spaces about healing your inner child, that being like your inner child, your inner teenager, giving them the tools they need and meeting the needs that were not met when they were growing up. Now, when you presumably, hopefully, ignoring, the economic hellscape that is reality right now, but with you being older, you might be able to help heal yourself. And I like this kind of flip of Sunny is so lost that he relies on his inner child to protect him. And then when you think about that, obviously your inner child's not going to protect you. they're all like, Sunny is a child. You're 16. That's a child. But like, Omori is 12. It's even more of a child, and they can't. Whatever they're gonna do, it's not gonna help you at all. And I don't know. I can't make sense of it. I probably need therapy for that. I'm sorry. If you're listening to this and you're like, oh my god, this person's a fucking disaster, they need therapy. Yes, I agree. One day, maybe. I don't know. Music's getting creepy again. But yeah, I deeply, deeply appreciate everything that Omori is. Both the character and the game. One of the things I wanted to bring up was, I guess, talk about now, I guess it would be like the black space, right? It's the spot where all the truth comes out. I did notice that I didn't go through all the doors, and I do apologize for that. As you probably could tell from my playthrough, I was getting very, very, very stressed out. Very, very panicky. I just wanted to go through, I just want to get out of there. I just want to get out of there. I want to get into the happy fun times. I want to get to this nice music. I didn't want to be scary anymore. So I missed out on a lot of different rooms. I did go back and like watch a lot of those room footages. And even then, as much as the other rooms are interesting in terms of symbolism and what they mean and just how many times you kill Basil, poor kid, it comes down to Mio's room. And I'm putting out another, I've had the content warning on the screen this entire time, but I'm stressing it right now. I am going to be talking about Mio's room, and that is deeply, deeply dark shit. So like, take care of yourself if you are sensitive to Mio's room. But Mio's room is like the microcosm of a perfect horror. Like, I am not a horror girly at all. I don't watch horror movies. I don't read horror books. I don't like really play horror games. I have played like 2 horror games to completion now. I've played Doki Doki Literature Club, which I absolutely adore, and I've played Omori. That's it. I get scared when I play Legend of Zelda, like deeply terrified, getting nightmares. So I don't fuck with horror games generally. I didn't think that this game was gonna be this spooky. I knew this game was emotionally devastating. I didn't know it was terrifying. If I knew how scary it was, I probably would have never played this game. That said, I am very happy I did play this game. It's very good. But this game truly is terrifying. And that room is like the perfect moment of like existential horror. Of just... And I was telling this to Hachi-chan when we were talking about the game like a bit ago, but I was like, I feel like that room is the best illustration I've seen of suicide, like the lead up to a suicide, that I've seen in like any piece of fiction. Like I know, and you'll see back in like in the stream that someone did spoil it for me, that I could get out of that situation and I could stab myself to get out of there. Basically kill myself to stop myself from killing the cat. And I am very happy that happened, but also it just hammers home how fucked that situation is, where the entire game you are disturbed anytime. You are troubled by the fact that you have to kill yourself, you have to stab yourself to get out of the white space, to get back into reality. Now you're in this situation where you have a cat tied down, you are told the cat's been a very bad cat, there is no door, you can't leave. They gave you exactly what you need. You need the key to go on to the next rooms, but you can't leave the room. And all you see is the cat. And the only prompt that you're seeing pop up is to hurt the cat. And I know what you're doing is a lot worse than hurt, but I'm trying to, like, I know I have the warning sound like that, but like, I find that subject matter really troubling. I have 4 animals, one of which is a black cat, who's an absolute total sweetheart. She is the sweetest animal in this whole, like, of my array of animals. So like, just the thought of harming an animal is too much for me. But when you're in that situation, you think the only way out is through, and it's through this, and basically kind of you're projecting your stuck situation. You don't even want to think about potentially having to do anything else, so you're just like, okay, this is my only option. This responsibility, the ownership of the situation is on this cat, and once I get through this, I can finally get out. And then you realize, hopefully, maybe, I mean, I don't even want to say hopefully, because like, maybe it's easier for most people to hurt the cat instead. But instead of hurting this innocent being, killing this innocent being, you can kill yourself instead. You can forestall or outright just absolve this cat of any pain, terror, death by hurting yourself, by killing yourself. And you're so happy at the idea of basically what you think is protecting these people from harm that you can do onto them by just taking yourself out of the equation permanently. I mean, I've gone through that. I've literally gone through that exact, not coming to a room with my cat tied down, but going through that process where you think that in your situation, no matter what you do, you're gonna let down someone, you're gonna hurt someone. You're gonna hurt those that you love, those that you care for, and the only way out of this situation is just taking yourself out of the equation forever, to kill yourself. I've never seen it laid out like that before. I don't know about anyone else who's gone through something similar to that, who's had suicidal ideation or, you know, attempted. But at least for me, that's exactly what my situation was like. That's the exact thought process I had. And it's even made worse that if you do end up harming the cat, that you still are stuck in there until you leave. Like, no matter what, you had to kill yourself anyway. But I think it even hammers down that whole point of suicide, or not the point, but I mean the whole thought process of suicide anyway, is that there probably were other options. Like, in the game, obviously there wasn't. But like, no matter what, your thought process is that either I can do this thing that will hurt them, which will make me feel even worse to the point that I would want to kill myself, and you realize you can kill yourself and you do, or I can kill myself and not hurt anyone, and my killing myself is for the greater good. I'm protecting everyone. People will be better off if I do that, and that's just, it's incredible, honestly. I can't watch anyone else play through that point still. That part of the game was the most triggering for me, was Miwo's room. Again, I'm happy that I was spoiled and told what I could do right away, because if I was there much longer, I could feel it, that there was a panic attack happening, and very likely I would have had to stop playing. And if I was playing this personally, like for myself, I probably would have stopped playing just outright, because that was the worst part of the game. I mean, it's the best part of the game, but it's the worst part of the game for me. That was hell. But like, geez, just the care, the thought into it. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just too, like, I never want to say this is the best representation and best tasteful display of like mental health and like the struggles of mental health I've seen, because I don't know, I am not an expert whatsoever. But in terms of how much they cover in this game and how few times I was deeply triggered, I think it's pretty impressive with what they were able to pull off. I don't know if anyone working on this game was an expert on this, or just going through putting in what their experiences were into the game, but like, I applaud them for what they were able to pull off. Then we get to the final boss, which is Sunny fighting Omori. I love it. I think I talked about it before, but like my favorite boss battles ever, always, are when you're just fighting someone with a similar moveset as you. They are a similar moveset, a similar, my cats are fighting, 1 second. My cats have now stopped fighting, but now they are mean mugging me because they're pissed off that I made them stop fighting. No. Really. Cats are assholes sometimes. Sorry. Okay, I'm back. Cat owners, you know. Saying. Yeah, so I really like when characters have a similar background. I guess number one. God damn it! Something's in my face. Growing up, I really liked the rivalry between. Oh god, what was his name again? It's been a hot minute. Is Mega Man and what was it, Zero? I really liked their rivalry. But my absolute favorite one being Dante and Virgil from Devil May Cry. Twin brothers. Same night of trauma, but they came out with different ideas in mind of how they process it, and like what their life's purpose is the exact opposite. And them just being twin brothers as well. Like there's already just a natural rivalry there. So the highlight of that series of Devil May Cry, like I'm not gonna spoil anything, whatever. I always recommend people play Devil May Cry, especially Devil May Cry 3. But the highlight of that series is always when Dante and Virgil fight each other. At least for me. And I think for the grand majority of people who play those games. And partially being because when you're Dante, you're fighting big old monsters. Or if they're not big, they're just like insane, these otherworldly things. But the fight that's cool is the most grounded. And that's you fighting your brother. Your ideals clashing. And it's just, with Omori and Sunny, it's two sides of the same coin and they're facing off. One's got to go for the other to survive. That being, is Sunny going to face the truth and basically not need Omori to protect him anymore, or quote unquote protect him anymore? Or is Omori gonna win out and be like, hey, no, you don't want the truth. You keep avoiding it. I know you have the truth now, but like, let me do this for you. You made me this way to protect you. Let me do that in my own way. And then what we've seen from the other routes, or at least what I saw from the other routes, is Omori's version of protecting him is basically taking control of Sunny and either moving, like just getting to the car and moving away, or and a couple of the different routes is killing himself. And the one where he moves away, he's only moving away because he doesn't have an access to a knife to kill himself. So very likely he's gonna kill himself at some point, no matter what. Because that's how Omori sees things now. It's like, you have the information now, you have the truth again. It's too much for you. Let me do what I can do to help you. And the scene, the hospital, the bad hospital end, or I guess they call it the neutral end, but it's where My Time, or Oyasumi, plays. When Omori is falling, you see, Sunny is falling, you see Sunny going through a headspace and a black space and red space and all that kind of stuff. And like, it's right there showing that Omori is just completely taking over your body and trying to make it peaceful for you before you die. And it can be seen in the ending I got, where it was the ending where both myself and Basil survive. And when we come out into the hall, we see our dreams, the dream selves, the headspace selves of Hiro, Kel, and sorry, there's a freaking fruit fly around my head. Hiro, Kel, and Aubrey in their headspace selves running up. One like running up, and then Basil's shadow self running down. And it's just it's like the last ditch effort of Omori trying to tempt you back into the white space, back into headspace, back into not taking in accountability for the actions that you've taken. You can go up, where it's very well that up is probably to the roof of the hospital to kill yourself. and to just, you know, not come to terms with all that kind of stuff. Or you can go down and fully accept the truth. Tell your friends what happened. Be there for Basil and move on with your life. And I think that's really cool. I think, honestly, I think on that list, I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about. For Hachi-chan or anyone else that might be lurking about here, was there anything else that anyone wanted to talk about? Any final thoughts of Omori? So I think I covered everything. At least if I didn't cover everything, I got it out of my system. I'll be able to live my life again, knowing that this game isn't just hanging over my head forever. You know, up until like when I'm watching my husband play through the game and I'm taking in new things, but you know, what have you. Oh my god, yeah, I never even brought that up. I was commenting on this actually yesterday when I was watching my husband play through this, is that, yeah, audiovisual is incredible, and the music, like I know there's a lot of, oh yeah, no, it's so good. It's incredible how much the developers were able to pull this off. They made this game in 6 years, and from what I can see, there was a lot of, I guess, drama surrounding this game's creation because but that's not the word. The initial, I guess, release date was supposed to be in like 2015 and didn't come out until 2020. And a lot of people thought, I guess, that their money was like they got ripped off, whatever. Honestly, I'm astounded they were able to make this game in 6 years with a crew so small. Like, I know that the Omocat, the person that created this game or directed or what have you, slowly brought on more and more people as the project grew, but I'm just astounded that they were able to cover this so much and like how polished the game is, both in terms of like the story, the plot points, the implementation of the audiovisual side, how to do horror but not get like, I don't know, like schlocky with it, like get like over, like just too much, right? Like it was never too much. I felt overwhelmed in too much, but it wasn't like nothing was done just purely for shock value. Everything had a purpose in it. That being like what Hachi-chan mentioned with like how the phobias were introduced and implemented. I'm sure the thalassophobia parts were hell for the people that have a fear of deep water. But like how evocative those phobias are without being too overwhelming. Like I was able to get through this game despite my absolutely crippling fear of spiders. Because it was terrifying. But honestly, I play games that don't lean on the phobia aspect, and they do too much. They did way more than what Omori did. Sorry, my phone was going off. Oh, actually, there was the last thing I wanted to mention before. I guess I meant to bring it with Mari. It's kind of Mari, but it's a kind of like arching thing with the game itself. Is that I like that Mari's spirit, Mari's ghost, never, like, as she was always the supportive, loving sister for Sunny, she never antagonizes Sunny. She never guilts him, never lashes out at him for what happened. Because it was an accident. Her death, her fall, all that kind of stuff, it was truly an accident. And she never lashed out and placed blame on him. Any negative self-talk or negative accusations, pushing for suicide, pushing for death, was all done from Sunny himself. His friends were always there to support him. As much as they could. Even when they drifted apart, they still cared. Basil's frustration with Sunny was never in the point of like, you killed her. or anything like that. It was more so like you abandoned me because I thought we could work through this together, and they didn't. The game, for how dark it gets, it's never done in this like nihilistic, pessimistic standpoint. It's always through the lens of like hope and support and optimism, which I really appreciate with this game, because this could so easily lean into everything sucks, nothing will ever work out, you can never grow beyond your mistake. Like this one mistake, this one accident will define you for the rest of your life. The game could easily lean into that, and it could probably still do very well. It could probably still be a great game, but the game is elevated through its dedication to love and hope and support, and that's really cool. I really, really like it. I think that's why I like this game so much, and why like the more I think about it, the more it's becoming a favorite of mine, because it deals with such dark things, but always trying to kind of stress that, you know, if you push yourself to take accountability, that there is a chance for you still, that you're not lost forever. And I think that's a really important lesson, and really important message to get across a game like this. But I'm also just a sucker for games that have like a strong thing of hope. As a person desperately chasing after hope 24/7. But I think unless there's anything else I might have missed, I think that might be it on my part. I hope people enjoy this kind of conversation. I don't know if I'll do this for every game I beat, and I'll probably be hopefully a bit more well-versed in the future. Future me, I'm so sorry. You're probably gonna be cringing so much as you're listening to this, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But I don't know. This feels good to talk it out, to take my time and talk it out as much as I possibly want. And I hope you enjoyed it too. Again, I don't think I'm gonna do this for every game. I didn't do this for Cadence of Hyrule, but I don't really think there's much to talk about Cadence of Hyrule other than it was fun. And I don't know what we'll do with Spiritfarer or future games, but I'll keep it in my back pocket. We'll see how things go. Most likely what I'll be doing is I'll actually be uploading this part of the collection on Twitch and on YouTube as just like kind of like an epilogue, to be part of the playlist, so that way, you know, if you go back and watch through it, you have like a thing to go on. And even if you don't necessarily agree with the things I have said or my takes, maybe it'll make you think about the game as well. Because I think it's always important to critically reflect on all media, not just movies, not just TV, not just books, but on like and music, but like on everything, and that includes video games. Because video games can be, it's inherently a very intimate an art medium, and I think, I don't know, my favorite genre on YouTube is video essays, especially video game video essays. And I'll never be a video essayist, because I just don't have, I can't, I all know that's too much for me. But I do like to talk, and I'm good at talking. Or maybe I'm not good at talking, but I'm good at just keep saying words. So this was nice. Thank you, Hachi-chan, for participating. If there's any lurkers, thank you so much for coming by and just listening to me drone on. As for what's going on next, is that I'm actually gonna go on like a quick break because I desperately need a snack, and then we'll come back and play some Spiritfarer just to unwind. You know, I don't know how long I'm gonna be playing for. At least until 4. But maybe a bit beyond. I don't know yet. We'll just see how it goes. But if you're sticking around, please get up, stretch, get some water, get some tea, open a window, stick your head outside if the weather's okay, and get some snacks, and then come back. I'll probably be back in like 10 minutes. So right now it's 2:15 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be back here for 2:25 p.m. Eastern time, and update the titles and whatnot, fix all this stuff up, and get back over to Spiritfarer. We will have to say goodbye to Miwo. Miwo will not be joining us for Spirit Fair. Thank you so much, Miwo, for keeping us company. Miwo will not be back for future streams, but an element of Miwo might come back. A form of Miwo, per se. So, thank you, Miwo. You're such a good kitty. And I'll see everyone soon. Have a good break.